Good evening and welcome to All Levels Yoga. I'm Chris, coming at you live here from the Hatha Yoga Center in Seattle. And I'm just going to sit and breathe for a couple moments as perhaps people join in. So find your seat and just allow yourself to be heavy in your seat. Hi, Julia. I'm just kind of getting off to just a slow start so that if people join in, they can tell me what they'd like this evening. So bringing yourself into your breath and just taking some nice balanced breaths in and out through your nose. So feeling your spine lengthening up. Feeling the front of your chest opening as your shoulders slide down your rib cage. You could close your eyes, relax your jaw, and just feel the head is balanced on the shoulders, shoulders over the ribs, ribs over the hips. So your head is balanced and there's no forward head happening. And then just breathing, feeling heavy in your seat, and feeling how your ribcage expands and contracts with the breath. Letting your eyes relax. So we'll start with this kind of relaxed but upright body. And then you might bring your hands together at your heart, and you could bow your head and set an intention for your practice if you'd like to do that. Just taking a breath. And then let's come to the front of our mat and we'll warm up with some sun salutations. I'm going to bring the camera up a little higher. All right. So finding your feet on the floor and spreading your toes, feeling your arches lifting, the arches of your feet. And again, just kind of swaying around a little bit, feeling balanced. The weight of your body is balanced over the soles of your feet. And then raise your arms up, lengthen up, reaching. You can move a little bit, you don't have to be stuck. But grounding your sacrum, lifting pubic bone, lifting up through the sternum and through the crown of the head. Letting the shoulders slide down the rib cage. And your shoulders are also softening away from your ears, even as you're lifting and lengthening. All the way from the soles of your feet up through your fingertips. Exhale, come forward, hinging forward at the hip. So long spine. Just taking a couple breaths here. You could look down at your feet and just kind of notice how you're standing. See if you can kind of even it out a little bit so the weight is balanced. Nice steady breath, keeping the neck long. And then we'll step the left foot back and bring the knee down. Bringing your weight back and up over your left knee. And letting your arms float up. And again, feeling for this grounding in your sacrum and the lift of pubic bone, sternum, crown of the head, breathing. So feel like you're reaching, not just from your shoulders and neck, but reaching from your torso. So like you're almost reaching like from your lats more. So your shoulders can soften away from your ears, but there's strength in your arms. Finding your gaze. Exhale, bringing your hands down and stepping back to your first downward facing dog. So just moving a little bit. You could bend into one knee and the other. Sometimes it feels good to swivel your heels, both heels over to one side and bend into your knees a little bit to get into the sides of your lower legs. Maybe into the ankle a little bit. coming back to center, bending your knees quite a bit, wrapping your elbows in, and lifting your tail. And then keeping the head lifted as you come forward into your plank pose. Taking a couple breaths here, keeping the head lifted. Pelvis right in between your heels and the crown of the head. Lifting your belly. And then coming either with the knees down, or you can keep them lifted with your elbows by your sides, coming down onto your belly. And sweeping the arms back, clasping your hands at your sacrum and rolling your shoulders up. Try keeping your toes on the floor to begin with, the tops of your feet. And then you could roll maybe onto your side. And just feeling your right shoulder. Again, drawing down the rib cage in the back. And then roll to the other side. And keeping your head back. Neck stays long, and breathing. And then coming back onto your belly, maybe lifting the toes this time. Maybe the hands stay lifted off the back of your legs. Breathing. And then just releasing, bring your hands under your shoulders. Keep your elbows tucked by your sides, bend your knees. And tuck your toes and come back up to your downward facing dog. Breathing. And let's step the right foot up and over the left foot, bringing the sole of your right foot to the floor. You can bend your left knee if you need to, but lift your right hip. So you're lengthening through the waistline and rib cage. Still pressing into your hands and wrapping your elbows in, and then stepping back through center and left foot over the right foot. Lifting the left hip away from the away from the rib cage. And then back through center for a breath. And then we'll step the left foot forward, bring your right knee down. And let the arms come up. Lifting your gaze, finding your breath, your Ujjayi breathing. So slight closure of the back of the throat so you can just barely hear your breath to help you stay focused. And just another breath there. And then we'll step forward into our forward bend. Again, hinging at the hip, finding your long spine, tipping your tail. Feet are hip width. And then we'll bring the arms up and come all the way back up. Taking a breath or two here, lengthening. And then exhaling, bringing your hands back together at your heart. And just pause for a moment, just feeling your breath. And then I'm going to turn this way, and we'll do another one. So raising your arms. Again, lengthening up. And keep your hands shoulder width. Letting the shoulder blades slide. Keep lifting through the pubic bone and grounding through the sacrum. And then exhale, come forward again into your forward bend. Uttanasana. Nice, long, steady, relaxed breathing. And then from here, we're going to step the right foot to the back of the mat, keeping the back heel lifted. And coming up into our Warrior One lunge. So the hips are square. And again, we're feeling for that lift in the front, back is grounding. You can even take your hands there and just feel for that if you need to. The back knee can stay bent to help keep that orientation of the pelvis so the lower back can stay neutral. Maybe coming a little deeper. And then bringing your hands down, stepping back to downward facing dog. Again, so wrapping elbows in, lifting your tail. And you might try maybe reaching right hand for the left lower leg or ankle, and just maybe looking underneath your left arm. So feeling a little twist and a stretch in the back of your right shoulder. Also pressing into your left hand and wrapping the elbow in so the shoulder blade can slide. And then coming to the other side. And of course, if any of these variations are not good for your body, you're not doing them for whatever reason. If it's just hard, that's one thing, but if you feel pain in a certain kind of way that doesn't feel productive or like it's helping or benefiting you in any way, just learning the difference between pain and discomfort. So coming back to your downward facing dog, seems really relevant right now to work with ourselves in that way, to learn the difference between sitting with our discomfort and actually watching out for things that cause us real harm. Coming forward into plank, keeping your head lifted. Taking a breath there. You could try lifting one foot, say your left foot, keeping the hips right where they are. Keeping the head lifted and then switching. Lifting navel and release your foot and come through your push-up and then up into your cobra, either up on your hands or you can come onto your forearms if that feels better, into Sphinx. If you're up on your hands, press into the floor and roll the shoulders back and down, lift the crown of your head. Breathing. Feeling the stretching of your rib cage as you inhale. And there's a little movement in the belly with the inhale. A little expansion, a little contraction with the exhale. And then bend your knees, bring yourself back up to downward facing dog again. And then from there, we'll step the right foot forward, coming into our Warrior One lunge. Bending the back knee again, gaze is lifted, breathing. Nice steady breath, steady gaze. Starting to get warmed up. It's pretty warm in here tonight. And becoming a tiny bit deeper. And then stepping forward into your forward bend. Just noticing that feeling that you have in more of a back bend, and then how it changes when you come into your forward bend. Forward bending is more down regulating to your nervous system. Calming. And then coming up, reaching up. Getting maybe a little bit of a bend in your upper back, even as you're grounding through the sacrum, lifting through the pubic bone. Shoulders are sliding. And then exhale, bring your hands together at your heart. Pause. Finding your breath. And then let's go ahead. We'll just raise the arms again, lengthen up. This time, let's come through a chair pose. So bring the balls of your feet together. Your heels could be slightly apart, but press your knees together and sit back. Bring your hands into prayer. Sit your hips back. And then we're going to take a twist. So bring your left elbow to your right knee. So your twist is in your upper body. Both hips are kind of both like you're sitting back into a chair. And then bring your weight into your right foot. And see if you can step your left foot back so you'll be in this revolved lunge. It's a little tricky. So strong in your back leg, strong in the left leg, a little lift under your left thigh. Breathing. And then unwinding your hands and stepping back to downward facing dog. And here in your down dog, you might want to put together those two variations, or maybe just take the one that you liked. But you could step your right foot up and over the left and reach for the right ankle with your right hand, or the left ankle. And then coming back to center, stepping left foot over right foot, reaching for your left lower leg or ankle with your left hand. Nice big breath. And then stepping back to center. And let's exhale forward into plank. And pause for a moment. Head is lifted. Hips are centered. And then just come to your knees. Do a little bit of cat-cow for a moment. Rounding your spine. And then arching. A couple times. And then coming back to your hands and knees and back up to downward dog. And then swing through plank and back to down dog a couple times. So using the muscles in your belly to help move you back and forth. Keeping the head lifted as you do this one more time. The next time you come to plank, just pause. And then coming all the way down again onto your belly. And let's reach the arms back again. Clasp your hands at your sacrum and lift up. And just take a couple breaths here. You could try bringing your right leg on top of left, so crossing your legs and squeezing your knees together, reaching back through the toes. And then cross your legs the opposite way with the left leg on top. Reaching back. Steady breath. And release that. And just bring your hands underneath your chin or your head and just rock the hips a little bit, side to side. And let's do a quad stretch while we're down here. So bring your left arm across the front of the mat, reaching back for the right foot, bringing the heel towards the buttock. You might be able to spin your fingers, and so that's a shoulder stretch as well. No twisting in your knees, so just keeping it pretty aligned. So feeling a stretch in the quads, lifting up out of your left arm. So one more breath, and then we'll do the other side. You can always just reach for the foot and just bring it towards your buttock, but maybe you can spin your fingers. So moving the heel towards the buttock, lifting up out of your right shoulder. Try to find your nice, steady Ujjayi breathing. And then release that. And then let's come back up to downward dog. Keep your elbows by your sides, tucked in. Bend the knees, tuck your toes, lift your tail. Just taking a moment. So now we're going to do the other side, but we're going to go backwards from the twisted lunge into the chair, the twisted chair. So step your left foot forward and coming up, bringing your hands together and twisting. So bringing the right elbow to the left knee, coming into that twisted lunge, revolved lunge. Nice deep breath. So how are you going to get your leg forward gracefully and come into the twisted chair pose? Just imagine it in your mind. Maybe you have to take a step, an extra step. Stepping forward. It's okay if you're all wobbly. Just do your best. Reaching back with the sit bones. Revolving your upper body. And then just releasing that and straightening your legs into a forward bend. You could Bring your feet hip width. And just kind of letting it go, and then we'll swing the arms up. Reaching up. And hands together at the heart. And I think we should do that again and just do it the opposite way. So, raise the arms up, just to feel complete or something. And then bring your hands into prayer, come into the twisted chair pose. So maybe the balls of your feet are together, knees are together. Bringing the right elbow to the left knee. And finding the twist. And then you're going to bring the weight into the left foot and step the right foot back. Coming into this lunge. Nice steady breath. And then releasing it and stepping back to downward dog. So belly's lifting, your tail's lifting, you can move a little bit. Downward dog feels kind of familiar, it feels like a little more like a resting place. And then come forward, exhale forward, and the head lifted into plank. And then coming all the way down onto the belly. And let's sweep the arms back again. And lift the toes, coming up into locust. Taking a couple breaths. And then release that and come into Sphinx for a moment. So the elbows are just a little bit in front of your shoulders, and you're pulling the heart through. You feel the shoulder blades here sliding, and the chest is opening. Finding your breath. And then we'll bring the hands under the shoulders. Tuck your elbows in, come back to down dog. Take a breath there. And then we'll step the right foot forward, coming into our revolved lunge. So really strong in your left leg, maybe lifting a little, so not dropping into the leg, keep it powerful. Opening your chest, and then really focusing on the weight in your right leg and foot as you step forward into that chair pose with a twist. Maybe it feels a little easier the more you do it. And then unwind your twist and come into your forward bend. You bring your feet back to hip width. Sometimes it's actually interesting to just bring your feet together side by side and come into your forward bend with your feet right next to each other and see how much more wobbly it is. Spread your toes. And then try coming up with your feet side by side. Less stable. And then hands together at your heart. Just pause for a moment. You can step your feet apart. And find your breath. Let's come into a wide-legged forward bend. So coming forward, just bending into one knee and the other, letting your shoulders move a little, and the elbows, hips. Just let it be easy. If you want to open that window over there, you're welcome to. Here, it's up to you. So coming back into a little calmer place before we get going again. So feeling your head below your heart. Maybe you could reach back and clasp your hands and try opening your shoulders. Even if your hands stay back towards the sacrum, that's fine. Just try not to round forward. So another breath there. And then releasing the hands. You could walk your hands over towards your left ankle or lower leg. Keep drawing the right hip back and let go of your head. So just coming into this forward bend with a stretch up the right side of your body. Breathing. And then walking hands over towards the right foot. Feeling that stretch up the left waistline, rib cage, armpit, upper arm. And then walking hands back to center. And then just heel toe your feet in so they're a little bit wider than hips. Toes are slightly turned out. You could bring your arms down, kind of pressing your knees out with your elbows. And coming into this squat, so your back is pretty much parallel with the floor. And then maybe reaching your arms forward, even as you reach your hips back. It's a little harder, but just stay with it for a couple breaths. Keep the knees moving out so you're not collapsing inward. And then come into a forward bend and just ease it out. Bringing your feet wider again, and let's do a high horse pose. So toes are slightly angled out, and when you bend, your knees are gonna kind of, if you look down, you can see they're just angling out over the toes. You're staying upright. So again, there's the lift of the pubic bone, grounding of the sacrum. And let's breathe. Inhale the arms up. Exhale. You could exhale through your mouth if that feels good. Inhale up. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale up. Exhale. I think this is 5. Let's do 5 more. Exhale down. Inhale. Exhale. Some people call it goddess pose. And 3 more. Inhale up. Exhale. Staying upright. Last one. Inhale up. And exhale. This time just bring your arms out. Press through your palms. And take a breath. And then straighten your legs. And come into your forward bend. And just ease it out. And then let's turn towards our left foot and angle the toes. So we're gonna come into a lunge, but this time with our back foot angled out towards the edge of the mat. So try to square your hips towards the front. Then we're gonna clasp our hands and we're gonna bow forward. So we're bringing the head towards the floor. Does not need to touch the floor, but towards the left ankle. And the arms might come up, so we're not rounding in our shoulders to get there. So it takes a lot of strength in your legs and also core strength. Stay with it for another breath. And then release your hands. And you could turn your heel up and bring your right knee down. So you're in this low crescent lunge. Maybe your fingertips are on the floor. You could bring both hands on the inside of your left foot and maybe even come down to your forearms, maybe opening the sole of your left foot, so stretching a little bit into the hip that way. Just being careful with your knee. Breathing, keeping your spine long. You can always have block or cushion under your elbows so that you don't have to round to get down there. And then bringing the hands back and the sole of the foot back. You could turn the toes of your left foot, angle them out towards the edge of the mat, and then come down maybe to your right forearm and grab your ankle. And then you can put your hand on your left leg to come into the twist, or maybe you can reach back for your right foot and you're twisting. You might be able to draw your elbow towards your buttock, that's called a heel, towards your buttock. As you do that for more quad stretching. So really lift up out of your right elbow, let your head come back, opening into the twist, and then slowly release your foot, bring your hands back to center, take a breath, and then lift your knee, and then turn towards the forward bend. Again, just bending into one knee and the other. And then we're going to turn towards the right foot and angle the toes of the left foot out towards the mat. So come into a lunge with your hips squaring, but the heel down. Reaching back and clasping your hands and bowing forward. So keep drawing your right hip in as you bow forward. It kind of wants to swing out. You can let it swing out a little bit to see what it feels like, but maybe not too much. It's not like there's a wrong or right, but try to keep your weight balanced over your feet pretty evenly. Some people can bring their head down to the floor, I cannot. And then release your hands. Coming into this lunge, maybe with the left knee down. Hugging your right thigh in towards the right side of your abdomen. Then you could bring your hands on the inside of the foot. You could let the knee open, maybe come to your forearms, if that's okay with your spine. So we're not trying to round to get there. You can stay up on your hands if that's the case, or a block. Breathing. Nice, steady, relaxed, comfortable, powerful breath. And then coming back up, bringing your left arm across the mat, turning the toes of your right foot, angling them out, and coming into the twist. So trying not to dump into your left shoulder, reaching back for your left foot maybe, drawing that heel towards the buttock and opening into the twist. Keeping your head lifted, might look up. One more breath there. Release your foot. Bring your hand back down. And come up and come into your forward bend again. So just bending into your knees and your elbows and shoulders. Just keeping it kind of easy. And then let's try the runner's stretch, we call it. So you can stay up on the hands. You're going to bend into your right knee, keeping your left leg straight with the toes of your left foot facing forwards. And then maybe you bring your right elbow into the right knee, kind of push it back, or the shoulder. You might be able to come down to the forearm, or you can stay up on your hands. It's a pretty deep stretch, so breathing. And then you might come to let the toes of your left foot point upward and come deeper. And of course your your right heel might be up off the floor. I usually bring my left hand kind of down underneath my left thigh and use that to push myself upright. So it's a pretty big stretch in your left inner thigh and hamstrings. And then of course this deep fold on the right leg, squat, ankle, knee, and hip. This is called Skandasana. Sometimes people take their hand and put it on top of their left thigh and press, but you have to be careful, not trying to put too much pressure into your knee. Only if it feels good, feels right. Might feel a little uncomfortable, but. And then release that and come back through center, just like ease it out a little bit. And then we'll do the same on the other side. So bending into your left knee, your hips go back. Elbow might go into the knee or shoulder. Keeping the foot on the floor, the right foot on the floor, as you come into that, what we call the runner stretch. Maybe to the right forearm, keeping your spine long, breathing. Might bring the weight of your hips back a little. And then maybe bring your right hand down to support you as you come into this variation. So keep pressing your the back of your left arm into the inner left thigh. Maybe the hand can come on top, or maybe just to the floor, but try to find your spine stays upright. You might have something underneath your heel if you can't bring it down, or just lifting it. And then slowly, with a little support of your hands, coming back to your forward bend. Just moving a little bit, letting it be easy. Then let's bring your left hand in between the line of the toes, and we'll twist. So bringing the right hand back to the sacrum, or maybe all the way around to reach for your left thigh. If your body likes that. Making sure that the head isn't coming forward, so just turning the spine. You can also pick your left hand up and press it into the top of your right thigh. And one more breath. And then release and turn. And then we'll bring right hand in between the line of the toes, bringing the left hand back to the sacrum or all the way back to the right thigh for the twist. Keeping head lifted and back. Sometimes we come forward, so staying in a long line from the crown of the head all the way back through the tailbone. You could pick up your right hand and press into your left inner thigh. Or just keep it on the floor. One more breath. And then facing back down. Bending into one knee and the other. And then let's come into frog pose. So you can bring your feet together, your knees apart, or you can also bring the feet straight down from the knee, but keeping your long spine, finding your breath. Staying with it for a few breaths. Noticing if you're prone to any kind of jaw tension or gripping in your hands, or just trying to relax your hands, relax your jaw. Maybe lift up a little in your belly. And then come forward to come out, bringing your legs together and just letting your feet go side to side. Circling around a little. And then let's make our way back up to downward facing dog. And so we're going to come into pigeon, but before we do pigeon, try lifting your right leg up. So press up through the heel. Keep your hips square so you're not lifting the right hip. And really steady yourself into your right hand. Wrap your right elbow in. Then lift your left hand, maybe alongside your torso, or hand could come back to the sacrum, or maybe you're just playing with the balance. So really strong up through the center. Pressing up through the heel helps. And then bring your hand down and that leg down, the right leg down. And then we'll let the left leg float up. Press up through the heel. Really wrap your left elbow in. Press into your left hand. Steady yourself. Maybe you can lift your right hand. Maybe back to the sacrum. So you're in a two-legged dog. Feel your Ujjayi breathing. And then releasing the hand and the foot. Take a breath. And then we'll just draw the right knee forward for pigeon. And then just slowly making your way maybe to your forearms. Really staying with your breath again, as always, but relaxing the hands. And feeling for the place where your pelvis is centered, balanced. If the knee is bothering you at all, either adjust yourself or come onto your back and do a figure four stretch. Couple more breaths. And then let's just take a twist. So we'll bring the left arm across the front of the mat, grabbing maybe your knee, your right knee. So the shoulder's right over the elbow, and then you're going to reach back with your right hand, maybe for the sacrum, maybe all the way around to the foot. And just opening your chest again. The head is not coming forward, it's leaning back. So the shoulder's right over the elbow and you're lifting up. So using gravity to help you as leverage to help you come into the twist. And then turning and releasing that twist, walking your hands in and staying up on your left hand, reach back for your foot, your right foot, opening the chest. So you could kind of pull the ankle into your hand to open your chest. And it's a bit of a twist, so you might be looking back, breathing. And then releasing the foot, bringing your right hand down and your left hand back and reaching for the foot. So you might stay there. Maybe you can, again, lift up and draw your heel towards your buttock. Trying to stay really steady with your breath and your gaze, wherever you are with that. And then release your foot. And lean towards your right, and let's bring your knee up into the sole of your right foot. Just take a little twist, gentle twist. And then unwind your twist, and we'll swing the right foot around. You might be able to keep your left foot around. You might be able to keep your right knee bent, or you might straighten your right leg. But first, just finding your sit bones kind of evenly, feeling your spine rising up, and then maybe the hand comes under the right thigh, just to help keep your right shoulder down as you turn into the twist. So letting the breath be just as full in this twist as it is in any other pose. And so if you feel really like that's not possible, then just back off a little, find your breath. And then just ease in. Exhale slowly into the twist. So really staying focused on your breath. Lifting up through the crown of the head. And then slowly turning towards the front of your mat. And let's come forward and stack your knees. You can also do this with your right leg could be straight, but we're going to come into steer pose. So the knees are pretty well stacked, and sometimes it helps to bring the hands back just so that you're not rounding forward, but whatever variation, maybe hands on the ankles, your choice. But if you're coming forward, it's with your breath and long spine. So noticing the urge to get the heck out of the pose, and noticing if that's because it's actually not good for your knees or something like that, or if it's just because it's kind of uncomfortable and you feel a little bit trapped. So doing what you need to do to convince your nervous system that this is okay. So it has to be okay for your knees. And that's with the breath. If you're breathing comfortably and you're not in any pain, then you can just stay with it for a few more breaths. Feeling the discomfort of it. And then slowly releasing. Maybe take a little counter twist. Just maybe lift your knee up and just turn in the opposite direction for a moment. And then come back to downward dog, so swing your leg back and step up. And just moving a little bit to come back to your centered, kind of even, symmetrical feeling in your body-ish. And then from here, we will step the left knee forward. Is that right? Okay, good. For a second, I doubted myself there. And just coming forward maybe to your forearms, breathing, feeling the pelvis is sort of kind of centered, so you're not slouching off to one side or the other. Breathing. Feeling the length in your spine. Steady breath. Maybe steady gaze too. Maybe finding your steady gaze. Noticing the way your body is a little bit different on each side. And then you might bring your right arm just across the front of the mat, maybe reaching for your knee. And sweeping your left hand back to the sacrum, coming into the twist. Trying to lift up out of your elbow. Maybe looking back behind you. And slowly releasing. Walking your hands in. First we'll bring your right hand down in front to reach back for your your left hand for your right ankle. And so you might be kind of pulling your ankle into your hand to allow you to be more upright, coming into the twist. And one more breath there. And then release that. Bringing the left hand down, reaching back with the right hand. You might stay there, or you might bring the heel towards the buttocks so that spinning the fingers, coming into the quad stretch a little deeper, lifting up. slowly releasing that. We'll lean towards the left, bringing your right knee up into the sole of your left foot, just taking a little twist. Not too much torque in the low back, but just a little. And then we'll unwind that and swing your right leg around for the seated twist, like we did on the other side. This could be with your left leg straight. So grounding yourself, feeling the spine and the breath. Maybe the left hand comes underneath the thigh and the right hand comes back behind you, turning into your twist with your breath. Letting the breath be very full and relaxed. A little ujjayi breathing so that you can hear and feel the breath in the back of your throat a little bit. And then slowly unwinding, and we'll stack our knees for steer. So whatever position with your hands feels right. Maybe they're back behind you or to the ankles, maybe forward. Your choice, just keeping your sit bones moving towards the floor. They might kind of lift a little bit, but not too much. So lengthening your spine and your breath. Another breath or two here. And then coming back out of it, and maybe the foot comes back to the floor, and just take that little counter twist in the opposite direction from your knee, so turning towards the left. And then we'll swing the right leg back and lift up into downward facing dog. Just evening yourself out a bit. See if you can really lift your tail and wrap the elbows in and lengthen up. And then walk your hands back towards your feet. And just come into a little bit of a easy forward bend with your knees bent. And then maybe widening your feet, you could come into a squat. Slowly, carefully with the knees and ankles. It's a lot of flexion. So you can always have a lift under the heels, or have the heels lifted. Sometimes a rolled up mat is helpful. So taking a couple breaths in your squat. And then let's do crow pose. So bringing your hands a little wider than your hips, making a little shelf with your upper arm for your knees. You might lift your feet up, or maybe just balancing on your toes, keeping your tail lifting and your head and your shoulders lifting. And you're also kind of drawing all the energy, kind of sucking it in. Just coming back down. When you're ready, back to your squat for a moment. You can take a little twist, so bring your right shoulder into your left knee and open up. Keep pressing your left knee out. And then release that side, bring your left shoulder into the left knee. Keep opening your right knee out. Do your best to open into the twist. And then release that. And come back up to your forward bend. Nice deep breath. You can take your hands, if it's comfortable for you, to bring your hands underneath your feet and bring your toes kind of up onto your wrists. You can bend your knees a lot to get there. Kind of feels good on the wrists and the hands. So you're kind of massaging your wrists with your toes and the balls of your feet into your hands. Maybe you can let your head hang a little. And then slowly, maybe one hand at a time, just releasing that. And actually let yourself round, but do it intentionally. So draw your belly in and roll up. Let your head be the last thing to come up. And then just let your arms hang and do a little twisting. So let your arms be dead weight. Let's do a couple of one-legged balances before we come back to the floor. So you might want to block. I'm actually going to pick up my mat and get it out of the way. So let's do a half moon pose, maybe with a bind reaching back to the foot. So we'll start by, let's do dancer pose. We'll stand on the right foot and just begin by lifting your left foot and reaching back for the left foot. You could actually reach back with both hands and try to, again, like ground the sacrum, lift up through the pubic bone. So you're not going forward yet. Maybe you can press the top of your foot into your hands. Breathe. And then release your right arm. You could lengthen it up. And then you might come forward. Maybe keeping the hips square, if you can do that to begin with. And then you might have to release your foot. Let's all release the foot. And then turn and stack your hips and come into this half moon pose. So your right fingertips are angled out from your little toe of your right foot. You're pressing through the sole of your left foot and you're opening up. You might be able to reach for the foot again and press back the top of your foot into your hand to open the shoulder. It's okay if you can't reach the foot, you can just keep the leg straight and then straighten the leg out again and bring your hand down, then come into like a warrior 3 pose, so square the hips, and then maybe bend your right leg and step your left leg forward and come up. And let it go. And then we'll start again standing on the left foot, reaching back for your right foot or ankle, maybe with both hands to begin with. Lifting your pubic bone, grounding your sacrum, lifting your heart. Keeping the hips pretty square. Breathing. And then letting go with your left hand and letting it come up. And we'll come forward for our, coming into a forward bend. Maybe you can stay with your, holding onto your foot, keeping the hips square. You might have to let go of the foot. Eventually we will all let go of the foot, and then we'll turn and stack the hips. And press through the, flex your foot, your right foot. Opening the chest, feeling long through both sides of your torso. And then maybe you can bend the knee, the right knee, and reach for the top of your right foot. And opening up the front of your right hip and belly, shoulder, maybe releasing it. Coming back to this half moon. And then turning your body towards the floor, bringing the right fingertips to the floor. So now you're in that warrior 3 position with your fingertips on the floor. Bend your left knee and draw your right knee forward. And then just come into an easy forward bend. You might make your feet a little wider. You could just bend a little bit and come into a forward bend with the wider feet. Actually, let's do that Ichiro type stretch. So coming up and kind of bringing the hands and the inner thighs. You might widen your feet a little bit. And then dipping your left shoulder, a little bit of a twist. And then to the right, pressing your knees open. And back and forth one more time. Still breathing. And then releasing, and we'll come down. We're gonna come onto our back, but let's come into a forward bend. Paschimottanasana, so feet are flexed. Maybe you can reach for your feet, or just bring your hands to the floor, but keep your spine long. If you can reach your feet, and you can draw your toes back towards your shins. That's a little like we did when we were standing. And you can even bend your knees here if you need to. Taking a couple breaths. And then release. And as long as we're here, let's bend the right knee. Let's do one more twist. So sit up, this time with the left leg straight. And first, bring your left hand back behind your hip and reach up with your right arm. So there's just a little space between your foot and your thigh. And then lean forward. Keep your sit bone down. You might be able to reach for your left foot, kind of draw your right knee in. You might be able to wrap your arm back and around like you were going to do a bind. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to work on bringing my right shoulder into my right knee for another breath. And then release that and just take a little twist, wrapping your elbow around your knee, lengthening up. Breathing. And then unwinding, and we'll straighten right leg and bend left knee. Bringing your right hand back, lifting your left arm, and coming into this forward bend. It's kind of awkward. So you might notice, like for me, I get a little cramp sometimes in my right hip, so I have to loosen that and find a little more integrity in my core. Maybe you can reach for the foot, or maybe like MJ's doing, you can't see it, but she's doing a bind with a twist. So this is preparing for that by bringing your shoulder into your knee. And then releasing that and just taking the twist in the opposite direction. Lengthening up through the crown of the head. And turning back towards the front, straighten both legs and just roll onto your back. Just curling yourself down. And then draw your knees into your chest. And rock a little bit side to side. And then let's bring the feet down and come into a bridge pose. So press into your heels, lift your hips. You might be able to tuck your shoulders underneath and clasp your hands. And this supported bridge pose, keeping a little space under your neck, so untucking your chin a bit, pressing your hips up, letting the breath move through your body, energy through your body, so you're not holding on in any one particular spot too much. It's kind of a whole body effort. And then releasing your hands and slowly rolling down, drawing the knees back in towards the chest, and rocking a little bit side to side. And then next one could be back up to bridge, or you might want to come into your full back bend if that's part of your practice. Full wheel pose. So if so, just bringing the hands up by the shoulders and pressing up. You might come up onto the balls of the feet. And, woo, slippery. Breathing. Maybe letting the head release. Just another breath. And tucking your chin in and coming down, or coming out of bridge, either way. Drawing the knees back in. You can even lift up and bring your forehead up to your knees. Breathing into your back. And releasing that. And let's bring right ankle on top of left knee. And you might take your hands and kind of press them into the inner thighs, or top of your thighs, I mean, and sort of traction a little bit. And then you could reach through for your thigh, maybe pressing your right knee away with the right elbow, rocking a little bit side to side. And then maybe you could let go of your thigh, bring your left hand onto your right ankle, and just let that foot come to the floor, maybe reaching for that ankle. And then you could bring your right arm out to the right for kind of bringing the right shoulder blade back onto the floor. Maybe pressing your right knee away, kind of intensifies the stretch. If you can't reach for that ankle, that's fine. You don't have to. You can just bring your arm out to the side also. So you kind of get a little different stretch up the right side of your body there. You feel it in your lower ribs and also in different parts of your hip. And then come back up and flip your legs. So bring left ankle on top of right knee, maybe pressing into the top of your thighs to just kind of lengthen your low back a little. And then reaching through for your thigh, the back of your right thigh, rocking a little side to side. Perhaps maybe pressing your left knee away. And then maybe you're reaching for your left ankle with your right hand. Your left arm comes out to the side, and then letting your left foot come over into the twist all the way to the floor, maybe with the hand on the ankle. Maybe pushing the knee away, looking back over your left shoulder. And just breathing, feeling the left shoulder blade on the floor. And then coming back up and drawing the knees back into the chest for a moment. And then bring your feet width to the floor and arms out to the sides. Let your knees go side to side a couple times. And then the next time they come over towards the left, you could pick your left ankle up and put it on top of your right knee if that feels okay to your right knee. And pressing the knee back towards the floor. And just breathing, bringing your body back down into a more of a resting state with the breath and the heart. And then unwinding that, stepping your foot off the knee and letting the knees go to the other side with your feet wide. Picking up your right ankle, putting it on top of your left knee. Deer pose. deer and steer. Nice deep breath. And then stepping right ankle off the left knee and coming back up for one more time, bringing the knees in towards your chest and giving yourself a hug, maybe rocking a little bit side to side. You could also come into happy baby if you'd like and rock that way too. Side to side. And then we'll just come towards corpse pose. So let's just extend our legs, bringing the backs of our hands to the floor. You could kind of tuck your shoulder blades under, letting your chest be open, and then just really surrender your body to the floor. Just let it be very heavy. And closing your eyes if that's comfortable for you, letting yourself really soften and feel the weight of your body. And just feeling the good effects of your practice and what you've learned about yourself in this practice. So just really surrendering for a few more breaths. Kind of emptying yourself of your practice, just being light and hollow, just letting it go. You did well. You got yourself onto your mat and you honored your body and you stayed with your breath. And just a couple more breaths here on your back. And then keeping this nice relaxed body as you come back up to a seated position. So rolling onto your side and just making your way up so that your body stays very surrendered, but you find your long spine. So finding length in the spine and feeling balanced. And then taking a couple of balanced breaths before we close. So inhaling. You might hold the breath for a moment at the top, relaxing, and then exhale. Inhale. Filling your lungs and pause, retain the breath. Exhale. Keeping the face relaxed. One more time, inhale. Retain the breath, soften your shoulders, keep lifting. Exhale. And then just bringing your breath back to its own comfortable, natural rhythm. Bringing your hands together at your heart. You could pause to recall your intentions for practice tonight. And then bow your head to your own practice, to your own inner teacher, your higher self, or your higher power. Namaste. Thank you. Have a wonderful evening.